So we're going to do a quick review. Multi-step unit conversions is the same thing as single-step unit conversion. So if I had something like 48 inches, convert that to feet, we would say 48 inches over 1 times, and I'm thinking of 12 inches equals 1 foot. I remember to put 12 inches in the bottom so that it cancels with inches, and 1 foot up top. Inches cancels with inches. We'll have feet left, which is what we wanted. And I just have to do 48 times 1, which is still 48, divided by 1, which is still 48, divided by 12, which is 4. So my answer is 4 feet.
Couldn't we just put the number of inches above 12? Start with?
No, that wouldn't always work. Okay, so the reason that we do this process, right, the whole reason we do this process is so when we get to more complex unit conversions, we have a process. So let's say instead of 48 inches to 12 feet, let's say they asked us to convert 60 inches into yards.
Are you able to use calculators?
Yeah. As long as you bring a calculator. 60, actually, let's do one that's a little bit easier. Let's do 72 inches into yards. So that'll come out even. So 72 inches, convert that to yards. Well, I don't really know how many inches are in a yard. Or at least I'm pretending that I don't. So instead, even if I do, for the purposes of this, let's say you don't. Instead, let's say I remember the number of inches in a foot, which is 12 inches in 1 foot. And I remember the number of feet in a yard. So I use my first unit multiplier here, and my second unit multiplier here. And what happens is the inches cancels with inches. The feet cancel with feet, and I just have yards left. So here's my first unit multiplier, that converted inches to feet. Here's my second unit multiplier, that converted feet to yards. And I'm always making sure, if I have inches up top, it cancels with inches down bottom. Feet up top, cancels with feet down bottom. And then to do the math, I simply take 72 times 1 times 1, so that's still going to be 72. I'm multiplying by each numerator, and then I divide by each denominator. So I have 72 divided by 1 is still 72. Divided by 12, 72 divided by 12 is 6 divided by 3, and 6 divided by 3 is 2. My final answer is 2 yards. And feel free to use a calculator to do this part. 72 divided by 12 divided by 3. So our final answer there is 2 yards. So this isn't really anything super new. It's just adding one extra step, right? We talked about this step yesterday. And if we just do that again, we can convert from one unit to another, to another, to another, to another. We don't have to get the answer in between. So let's take a look at something that's fairly common in this scheme of doing things, which is, someone said, let's convert 1.6 meters to inches. Convert meters to inches. So the first thing we want to think about is This is the metric system, meters, and this is our US system. So we have to think, how do we get from the metric to the US system? Yeah.
You multiply 1.6 times 100 and convert it into centimeters and then multiply that times.
Yeah, nice. So I know the conversion between between centimeters and inches. And I know a conversion from meters to centimeters on my sheet. So I have to kind of plan out how am I going to get from one to the next. Right? On the sheet that I gave you, it said 100 centimeters equals 1 meter. And it also said 2.54 centimeters equals 1 inch. So using these two conversion factors, we can get from meters to centimeters, centimeters to inches. So that's what we're going to try to do. Let's say we start with 1.6 meters over 1 times a unit multiplier. What's the first unit multiplier that I need here? Yeah.
100 centimeters over 1 meter.
100 centimeters over 1 meter. And that will make the meters cancel out because we have m up top and m down bottom. And then what's the second unit multiplier that I need to use? 1 inch over 2.54 centimeters. That will make centimeters cancel out. And the unit that I have left, inches. Okay, how do I do the math here? I start with 1.6. Yeah.
So you would multiply it by 100, so it would be 100
Times 100. Good.
And then you would divide by 2.54.
Divide by 2.54. So just always remember, if the number you're looking at is underneath a fraction, you hit divide by that number. Okay. So in your calculator, 1.6 times 100 times 1, but that doesn't change it, right? So just like he said, we can just do 1.6 times 100. We can ignore this, ignore this, ignore this, divide by 2.54. Does anyone have a calculator handy? What'd you get? I'll try it too.
6.2992125. So that would be 6.29 since there are 2 decimals in.
I think
6.3 this is the round.
I think it's 62, isn't it?
62.
I think it's 62.99. I'm just rounding to something that's kind of easy to round to. So 62.99 inches. That's the answer to that one. Let's think about, because I also heard 6.299 inches. Well, let's think about which one of those makes more sense, right? They asked us for inches. Both of them have inches. A meter, 1.6 meters, is something like this long, right? A little, just about my reach. 6 inches is half of a foot. So that can't be the same. 62 inches is like 5 feet. So that sounds about the same, right? So take the time just to try to, what I try to do at the end of these problems is just visualize. What does 1.6 meters look like? Okay, I have some estimate of that. And then what is 62 or 63 inches? Seems like it would be about the same. But if you visualize 1.6 meters and you visualize 6.299 inches, I think you'll realize, wait, there's no way those are the same length. All right, let's do one more example like this. Let's say someone says, finish erasing, convert 1 gallon to milliliters. And let's say two of the things you have, 1 gal equals, let me get this wrong, 3.79 liters. That's correct. And someone also tells you 1 liter equals 1,000. What does ml stand for? Milliliters. Okay. So 2 pieces of information. How am I going to use these to convert 1 gallon into milliliters? So I set up my 1 gallon by writing 1 gallon over 1, so it looks like a fraction. Which of these conversion factors do I want to use first? One on the left or the one on the right?
Left.
Left. Okay. Let's look at this conversion factor. I have to turn that into a unit multiplier that has gallons in the denominator. How could I do that? What would be the fraction with gallons in the denominator? Yeah. 3.79 liters over 1 gallon. Now I need a second multiplier, because this is going to cancel gallons, leaving me with liters. I need a second multiplier to give me milliliters. Yeah.
1,000 milliliters over 1 liter.
Exactly. 1,000 milliliters over 1 liter. And we can see that we'll end up with milliliters because all the other units canceled. Yeah. 3,790 milliliters. Yeah, that's our answer. So how did we get that? We took 1 times 3.79 times 1,000 divided by 1, divided by 1, divided by 1. So we just had to do the tops in this case. All the bottoms were there. Do you see how setting it up this way, though, is making it easier than if we were just trying to think about these? Like, oh, yeah, I have to multiply times 3.79, multiply times 1,000. It's a lot easier if you're just thinking about multiplying and dividing to get lost. But when you set it up clearly like this, you keep track of your units, and you know that you're getting the right unit at the end. And there'll be some where, you might have 5 or 6 steps to get from your starting unit to your ending unit. Okay. All right, questions about this? Multi-step unit